We'll start the show with news, that had me cracking up this afternoon, looking right at Nick Fairboss. So me and him sit next to each other in the press room at the practice facility. And I went, what the hell? I was like, is this real? He said, yeah, it is. Could not believe it. According to the one, the only Pittsburgh Post-Gazette's and Pittsburgh Steelers insider, Jerry Dulac, during his weekly chat with Steelers fans today, dropped this quote. And speaking of healthy returns, I was asked last week about the health of inside linebacker Cole Holcomb and how he's coming along. And I said, I didn't know, but I would check. Well, I can at least tell you his recovery has been outstanding. And to me, from what I've seen, I wouldn't be surprised if they add him back to the roster soon. At this stage of the season, imagine what fresh legs can do for the depth on the inside. Nick, we might have made it. We might have made it to the other side. The other side of the Cole Holcomb train or tunnel or whatever you want to call it, that we didn't think we were going to make it to the other side of. It was getting skeptical. People were talking he's never going to play for the Pittsburgh Steelers again. We were asked 700 billion times on this show. Shout out to Joey the Great. Did I get that name right? Eddie the Great, excuse me. Didn't mean to do that to you, Eddie. Eddie the Great for tossing out just fantastic Cole Holcomb comment after fantastic Cole Holcomb comment. Well, we're here, guys. We're here. All those thoughts, all those questions, all those, we don't really have an update. I doubt he's going to play this season. We're here. Do I expect Cole Holcomb to play soon? I don't know, because I didn't expect him to play at all. So I can't sit here and say, well, it would make sense during Baltimore. It would make sense during Kansas City. It would make sense during Cincinnati. It would make sense during the playoffs. It would make sense during all of those. It doesn't matter when. It's a matter of, is he healthy? How healthy can he be? I'll ask you two questions here, because I got thoughts. I got a little rant I plan to go on here. How stunned were you? Because that's the first one here. And did you think we would ever get here, my friend? Did you think this was ever going to happen this season?
Well, here's a little pull behind the curtain of my Wednesdays. I do all Steelers talk stuff in the morning, and then I transition to tip of the iceberg stuff in the early afternoon, which is when a lot of this stuff happened. And then you send me the message of what we're going to talk about so I can prep. You said Cole Holcomb coming back, and I said, ooh. I said, because we had the question, I think it was yesterday or maybe last week, where it was Roman Wilson, Troy Fautanu, Cole Holcomb. Which of them, if any, are coming back? And you said, I don't think any of them are. And I thought of the three, Cole Holcomb was the least likely, simply because we hadn't heard anything. And yet here we are. He's out there. He's working. He's not quite practicing yet. But the fact is that when Jerry Dulac says something, it means something. And the fact is that Jerry Dulac believes that he would come back. And I can't believe it. I'm entirely surprised that is what popped up today. And that's what we're going to talk about today.
I think it's crazy. I'm excited for Cole. I'm excited for the Steelers, obviously. I'm excited for everybody who's been waiting around for this news. So let's dive into when it could possibly happen. The Pittsburgh Steelers are going to play the Eagles this weekend. It's Wednesday. Cole's not going to play on Sunday against the Philadelphia Eagles. Chances are, when he does come back, if he does come back, it is going to be a ramp-up period, much like everybody else. They'll activate him to the 53-man roster, or I believe he could return to practice. I think he gets the same 21-day window that anybody on injured reserve gets. So they will allow him to practice, kind of get his feet wet, get situated, see how he feels in a football environment. I would imagine it's 2 weeks before he's back on the field after this one, once he gets to a practice, because that's the biggest thing here. He has not practiced. Not one time has he practiced with the Pittsburgh Steelers. So you'd have to get to a practice setting. I would imagine 2 weeks after that practice setting is when you activate him to the 53-man roster, and then you just let him loose from there. I got nothing, no qualms holding anybody back saying Cole Holcomb should not be on the Pittsburgh Steelers defense the day that he returns to the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. Like, Cole Holcomb was the guy last year. He was the starter. He was the long-term plan here. You keep him the long-term plan. I look at Cole Holcomb as a guy that steps in next to a Landon Roberts and Patrick Queen. He is probably not going to be a starter. Landon Roberts is the guy there, obviously. But he steps in. He's part of that 4 rotation with a Landon, Patrick Queen, Peyton Wilson, now Cole Holcomb. Maybe takes I would be shocked if he takes a special teams role, but maybe he takes a special teams role just to kind of develop into that. But I think it's more of a depth piece to say, hey, this is another key name that we are adding to this defense for a playoff run to keep these guys healthy, just in case. I'm not going to say it can't happen. I'm stunned that we're talking about it possibly happening. But if Jerry Dulac says it, you listen. That's what I've learned in this business. That's what I've learned over the years. I still remember the first day I walked into UPMC Rooney Sports Complex for Mike Tomlin Tuesday, and Jerry Dulac was standing right there, and we talked walking up the steps. And the second he walked away, I said, that guy knows everything in this building, and I don't even know who that is yet. And I was right. So I would say there's a chance. The start of the new year is the perfect time to get organized, set goals, and prioritize what matters most. For me, a top priority is my financial wellness, which feels more important than ever. Thanks to Rocket Money, my goals feel achievable, and they show me all of my subscriptions right in one place and help me easily cancel the ones I forgot I've been paying for. Rocket Money also pulls together all of my spending across all of my different accounts so I can clearly track my spending habits and see where I can cut back. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps you find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. See all of your subscriptions in one place and know exactly where your money is going. For ones you don't want anymore, Rocket Money can help you cancel them. Rocket Money's dashboard gives you a clear view of your expenses across all of your accounts. Easily create a personalized budget with custom categories to keep your spending on track. See your monthly spending trends in each category to know exactly where your money is going. Get alerts if your bills increase in price, there's unusual spending activity, or if you're close to going over your budget. The new goals feature automatically saves money for you, so you don't have to think about it. Pay off credit card debt, put away money for a house, or just building your savings. Rocket Money makes it easy. Rocket Money will even try to negotiate lower bills for you. They automatically scan your bills to find opportunities to save. Then you can ask them to negotiate for you. They'll deal with customer service so you don't have to. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all of the app's premium features. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/allsteelers today. That's rocketmoney.com/allsteelers. rocketmoney.com/allsteelers. In your head, okay? What is the game? Where is the timeline for this to possibly, and we're just guessing, but for this to possibly happen?
Week 18, Cincinnati Bengals, Pittsburgh Steelers. If I think this is happening, I think it's going to happen because before the playoffs, because they're not going to want him to come back and the first tackle he has and the first action he has is in a playoff scenario. But I also don't know, again, where the timeline is here, because this is a guy that hasn't practiced all season. You can say that. This is a guy that hasn't had a practice snap since week 9 of last season. So I think it's going to be a ramp up, like you said. But I think that if they're going to have him come back, they're going to want him to get regular season reps before he gets to the postseason. So I think it would be week 18 is where, if it happens, I would be circling on my calendar.
Yeah, I could see week 18. I think this 11-day stretch makes things difficult. It's much like George Pickens, and we'll talk about him in a minute here. I think it's difficult to say, hey, you're gonna step on the field and you're gonna play 3 games in 11 days. Nah, you're gonna play 2 games in 5 days. Nah, probably not. That's probably not gonna happen. I agree with you. I think week 18, you're resting a lot of guys at that point. If you claim the playoff spot, if you win the AFC North, if the playoffs are decided at that point, you're resting some people. I could see Cole just taking some extra snaps, getting his feet wet. There's not really some added pressure for him to go out there and have his hiccups, because I think Cole Holcomb was the guy in that inside linebacker room, but I also think he hasn't played football in a year, and that's really difficult to come back to or from. So I would say I agree with you. I think week 18 is where we stay. I mean, you hear from Jerry, and we'll finish it off with this question. You got to believe Jerry, but what are your in your head? What's the likelihood this happens this season?
Oof. I would still put that at around 50-50 chance it happens. Because if Jerry's saying it, it means that it's on the table. It doesn't mean that he's going to respond the correct way to be able to get on the field, because coming back from this injury is not a linear path. Coming back from any injury is not typically a linear path. So I would still put it at 50-50, especially because of kind of the condensed timetable that we have. And even if he is healthy and even if he's ready to go, how many snaps is he going to be able to get? Because, I mean, you mentioned it. Yeah, he was the future whenever he was brought in last year. To some extent, they might still want him to be that. But right now, I view him as the same thing as Preston Smith. Is it nice to have him? 100%. But if the three other guys are healthy, do you really need him? No, not really. I mean, nice to have a number 4 of that caliber. But I think the three guys in front of him kind of eliminate the necessity of making sure that he is ready.
I agree with that. I agree with the notion. I would say if Jerry says it, it might be 60-40.
Okay.
Because I could see the I mean, just because Jerry says it. If it was yesterday, if you asked me 24 hours ago, it's 0% chance. So this is a significant jump.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like Preston Smith. And while that's a great point, Mike Tomlin's thinking, oh, if we could get Cole back for the playoffs, that's just another name to the puzzle here that you don't know if you could use. You don't know what's going to happen come the postseason. You don't know if you find yourself with Mark Robb having to start at inside linebacker. If Mike Tomlin has that opportunity, he's going to take that opportunity. I also know Cole has been impressing these coaches with his recovery process, and I think that stands out.